The world watched, holding its breath. Under Beijing's crisp autumn sky, a river of steel and humanity surged through Tiananmen Square. This was more than a parade, it was a declaration. China's 2025 military parade was a spectacle of power and ambition, broadcast live across the globe. The ground trembled as thousands of soldiers marched in perfect unison, a heartbeat for a nation asserting its place on the world stage. The message was clear: China had arrived. The era of quietly building strength was over. This was a public unveiling of global military ambition. The world's capitals watched, analysts scrambling to decode the new weapons and what they meant for the balance of power. The parade forced every major nation to reassess its assumptions about China's military and intentions. It was a historical pivot point, the culmination of decades of focused effort and national will. The post-Cold War era, dominated by a single superpower, was visibly closing. A new, more complex era was dawning. The sight of China's most advanced technology rolling past Mao's portrait was a powerful symbol of this shift. The world had been put on notice, the dragon had roared, and its voice was impossible to ignore. This grand display didn't emerge from nowhere. The 2025 parade marked the 80th anniversary of World War II's end, a reminder of China's journey from humiliation to victory. By linking modern power to historical triumph, Beijing crafted a narrative of national rejuvenation. The soldiers were inheritors of a legacy from a poor, war-torn nation in 1945 to a world power today. After decades of conflict, the founding of the People's Republic in 1949 set China on a new, turbulent path. For years, the PLA was massive but technologically backward, relying on numbers over advanced equipment. The idea of challenging the US military once seemed fantasy. But economic reforms in the late 20th century changed everything. China's leaders used newfound wealth to fund a patient, methodical military modernization. They studied the world's best, invested in science, and leapfrogged ahead in key technologies. The 2025 parade was the fruit of this long labor, a graduation ceremony for the PLA. It marked the shift from a defensive, land-based force to a high-tech, networked military. By celebrating World War II's end, China wasn't just looking back, it was framing its present and future ambitions. The story victimhood turned to victory, weakness to undeniable strength. The world was meant to see and remember. The parade's centerpiece was the unveiling of new military hardware, much of it previously shrouded in secrecy. The DF-27 hypersonic missile, capable of maneuvering at 5 times the speed of sound, was a direct challenge to US aircraft carriers. The J-35 Sea Ghost stealth fighter, now in large numbers, signaled China's leap in aviation and carrier power. Stealth technology and carrier-based fighters mean China can project air power deep into the Pacific. Unmanned systems took center stage: high-altitude surveillance drones, swarms of intelligent drones, and robotic submarines. These autonomous systems show China's ambition to lead in next-generation warfare. Advances in networked warfare were also on display: mobile command centers, satellite communications, and electronic warfare units. The goal linked every asset into a single, intelligent network for faster, more coordinated attacks. China demonstrated it's building a modern, information-driven military. The message: this is not just about raw power, but smart, integrated combat. The world saw not just weapons, but the architecture of future conflict. The era of high-tech, networked warfare had arrived. The parade wasn't a solo act. China invited foreign delegations and even small military units from Russia, North Korea, and Iran. This was a powerful visual, a united front of nations challenging the Western-led order. Russian troops marching in Tiananmen Square symbolized a deepening partnership, moving beyond convenience to strategic alignment. North Korea and Iran's inclusion was a bold, defiant message. China would not bow to Western pressure. This gathering of allies was a warning. China has influential friends in key regions. The bloc is smaller and less integrated than the West's, but united by a desire to revise the global order. The parade was the public unveiling of this emerging coalition. The geopolitical landscape is now more divided, more contested. The world saw the axis of ambition take shape. For decades, the US dominated the Asia-Pacific militarily. The 2025 parade was a direct challenge to that reality. The DF-27 hypersonic missile threatens US aircraft carriers, the cornerstone of American power projection. If carriers can't operate safely near China, America's ability to intervene in crises like Taiwan is diminished. China's anti-access/area denial strategy is now a reality, pushing the U.S. security perimeter further into the Pacific. The sheer quantity of advanced weapons on display suggested mass production, not just prototypes. The U.S. may still have a qualitative edge, but China now competes on quantity. In conflict, China could overwhelm defenses with missiles, drones, and ships. This forces the U.S. to rethink its military calculus. The credibility of American security guarantees is now in question. The parade was a psychological blow designed to sow doubt among U.S. allies. Washington faces a stark choice: cede influence or enter a new, dangerous arms race. The Pacific Order is under direct challenge. Despite the spectacle, experts urge caution. A parade is not a war. China's military hasn't fought a major conflict in over 40 years. Real combat experience is lacking. Training can't substitute for the chaos of battle. The PLA's command structure prioritizes political loyalty, risking rigidity and stifling initiative. In modern warfare, adaptability is crucial, something the U.S. military emphasizes. Much of China's advanced tech is based on foreign designs or cyber espionage, raising questions about integration. A modern military is a complex system. If connections fail, the whole system can collapse. The parade showed the pieces, but not how they work together under pressure. Geography also limits China. The first island chain, friendly to the U.S., acts as a barrier to naval power projection. Strategic choke points make China's ambitions vulnerable. No parade can erase these fundamental challenges. The world saw power, but also the limits of that power. China's rise is real, but America's strengths remain formidable. The U.S. military's unparalleled combat experience has forged battle-tested leaders. This human capital can't be built in a factory or shown in a parade. America's global alliance network, NATO, Japan, South Korea, Australia, multiplies its power and influence. Decades of joint training and shared intelligence create a united front China can't easily match. In technology, the U.S. still leads in critical domains: submarine warfare, space assets, and intelligence. Nuclear-powered submarines and advanced satellites provide decisive, unseen advantages. America's innovation engine, Silicon Valley top universities, drives breakthroughs in AI, robotics, and quantum computing. The decentralized, competitive U.S. system has proven more resilient and creative over time. These underlying strengths are not easily replicated. The parade showed China's progress, but America's deep well of power endures. The contest is far from decided. The world's balance remains uncertain. The shockwaves from the 2025 parade are already spreading. An arms race in the Asia-Pacific is accelerating. Japan, South Korea, Australia, and India are ramping up defense spending. The region risks becoming a powder keg where a miscalculation could spark conflict. Economic consequences loom, global supply chains run through China, and rising tensions threaten disruption. Companies may decouple from China, raising costs and slowing growth worldwide. The era of peaceful globalization may be ending. The parade forces a rethink of the global order, as China and Russia challenge US-led rules and institutions. The world may split into competing blocs, each with its own rules and technologies. Many nations will be pressured to choose sides, fueling diplomatic competition. The parade was a symbol of this new global contest, one that leaves the world on edge. The 2025 parade was a turning point, marking the end of America's unchallenged dominance. We've entered a new era of great power competition. The central question: can the US and China compete without catastrophe? America's response will be critical. Expect more defense spending, new technologies, and stronger alliances. The US will pivot decisively to the Pacific, but military moves alone won't be enough. The contest will play out economically, technologically, and ideologically. The US and its allies must prove their model delivers better results. The challenge is not just to contain China, but to offer a more attractive alternative. The coming years will demand careful statesmanship and clear-eyed realism. The world's future is being shaped now, in the long shadow of the dragon's roar.